العلم أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدم. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد. السلام ورحمة الله. So last week we started the last bab. Last week we started the last bab of Kitab al-Tahara, which was Bab al-Hayd, and we got as far as Ahkam al-Mustahada. So inshallah today hopefully we're going to finish the bab, and then we've got enough time for a quick revision of the actual bab itself. So the Shaykh said rahimahullah, Bab al-Hayd, لا حيض قبل 9 سنين ولا بعد 50 ولا حمل ولا مع حمل. The Shaykh rahimahullah mentioned some tawabid to start off with. So he mentions about 7 or 8 tawabid or rules or principles. With regards to hayd, we said that it was دم طبيعة وجبلة يخرج من الأنثى في أوقات معلومة. It is natural, normal blood that comes out of the woman, or that is seen from the woman at specific times, and it is a sign of health. It is a sign of health, and it is a sign that a woman can get pregnant. The Shaykh said rahimahullah, لا حيض قبل 9 سنين. There is no hayd before the age of 9, and there is no hayd before the age of 50. After the age of 50. So the Shaykh rahimahullah said the start date is 9, or the possible start of hayd could be 9 and any time after 9, and also at the end point, or when it ends, is up to 15, which means before 9, at the age of 8, if a woman does see hayd, or a young child does see hayd, then it can't be classed as hayd according to the madhab. Likewise, if a woman sees hayd at 51 or 52 onwards, then that cannot be considered hayd as well. And we said obviously there's another opinion in which there's no limit to hayd itself, whether it's at the beginning or the end, because the Sharia has connected the ruling to what? Seeing blood, the seeing of blood. Then the Shaykh says rahimahullah, وَلَا مَعَ حَمْلٍ. Lakin one can say, where did they get the 9 from, the 9 from, and the 15 from, the fuqaha rahmatullahi alayhim? They get it from istiqra'. They get it from the ada, what is the norm, or what is the norm. So after looking, or the ulama after coming through experience and seeing that the only time a woman sees hayd is after the age of 9 and before the age of 50, that is what gives them that ruling. وَلَا مَعَ حَمْلٍ. Also, they say that haml, if a woman is pregnant, she cannot experience hayd, because aslan that blood, the blood that comes out during hayd, shows that she's not pregnant. So the pregnancy itself is a sign that she doesn't have hayd, because if there was hayd, they say, which is the case, then it would come out, then that hayd would flow out. However, there's another opinion, which is if the woman does go through hayd, she does see hayd with its signs at its normal times during her pregnancy, then it has to be considered and taken into consideration that it is hayd. وَأَقَلُّهُ يَوْمٌ وَلَيْلَةٌ وَأَكْثَرُهُ 15. Then the Shaykh rahimahullah moved on to the least amount of time that hayd can be there, and the most amount of time. And he said the least is a day and a night. A day and a night, and the most is 15 days. And these, given the hayd a time, in a way is extremely beneficial. You can see, although there is no clear evidence to state it, like you can see why the fuqaha have placed a certain number on there. Because as we're going to see today, inshallah, there's something called mustahada, which is irregular bleeding or abnormal bleeding. So in order to be able to differentiate between this abnormal bleeding, damul istihada, and damul hayd, we need to be able to give hayd a specific time, to whereby we say a day and a night, that is minimum, that is called hayd. Up until day 15. Once you reach day 15, anything above that, then it is impossible for it to be hayd, and it goes over to al-istihada. Then the Shaykh says rahimahullah, وَغَالِبُهُ 6 أو 7, and the majority of it, meaning according to the majority of women, their haid is either 6 days or 7 days. Oh, here in this part is not a shak. It is not a shak, it is not doubt, meaning maybe it's this or that. Like it means that it could be this, meaning certain women have it at 6 days and certain women have it at 7 days. So it is not shak, because this comes into the hadith as well. فَتَحَيَّضِي سِتَّةَ أَيَّامٍ أَوْ سَبْعَةَ أَيَّامٍ. That is found in the hadith. So it is not the Prophet ﷺ saying to her, listen, do what you want, whether it's 6 days or 7 days. La. It is going back to the aada, what is the norm of the women around your family and in your community and in your environment. What is the norm? If it's 6 days, then make it 6 days. If it is 7 days, then it is 7 days. Then the Shaykh says, وَأَقَلُّ طُهْرٍ بَيْنَ حَيْضَتَيْنِ ثَلَاثَةَ عَشْرٍ. The least amount of tahara that can come between two haids. So we said the minimum is 1 day and 1 night, and up to 15 days. طيب. What is the minimum duration between two haids? The Shaykh says, rahimahullah, 13 days. And they take that 13 days from the ruling of Shuraih, in which Ali radiallahu anhu agreed with him, in which the woman was her husband divorced her, and obviously we know when a husband divorces his wife, her iddah is what? 3 menstrual cycles, if she obviously does still get haid. So she came back within a month and she said, I've finished my haid, I've finished my iddah, meaning I've had 3 haids. Then Shuraih radiallahu anhu wa rahimahullah, he said, khalas, if she can provide trustworthy people from her family who will support her claim, then khalas, she's telling the truth, and obviously that's her haid. And Ali radiallahu anhu, he agreed with him. وَلَا حَدَّ لِأَكْثَرِهِ. And there is no limit to the longest duration of purification. Why? Because a woman may not even what? Get haid. وَتَقْضِي الْحَائِضُ الصَّوْمَ لَلصَّلَاةَ وَلَا يَصِحَّانِ مِنْهَا بَلْ يَحْرُمَانِ. The Shaykh rahimahullah moved on to some of the ahkam of haid, which is that the woman cannot pray, rather it is haram for her to pray, and it will not be accepted from her. She has to do qada of it, she has to make it up after. Likewise, the sawm, the salah she doesn't make up. And the sawm, she cannot fast, lakin she has to make it up after. That's the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha. نعم كان يصيبنا فنؤمر بقضاء الصوم ولا نؤمر بقضاء الصلاة. So she says that we were commanded during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to we were commanded to do the qada of the fasting, and we were not commanded to do the qada of the salah. وَيَحْرُمُ وَطْءُهَا فِي الْفَرْجِ. Then the Shaykh says rahimahullah, it is haram from the ahkam, يعني the third hukum, it is haram to have intercourse with the woman. Lakin shuf fil farji. He limits it to what? To the private part, to actually having intercourse. طيب. فإن فعل فعليه دينار أو نصفه كفارة. Then the Shaykh says rahimahullah, if he does have intercourse with the woman in her private parts while she's going through haid, then there's expiation, a kafara, which is a dinar or nisfuhu, meaning a dinar or half of it. طيب, I'll try shouting inshallah. فإن فعل فعليه دينار أو نصفه كفارة. So the explanation is going to be what? A dinar أو نصفه. The O here, or the fuqaha, in terms of giving it tawjihat or explaining it, they say it depends on when he has this intercourse with her. If he has it at the beginning of her haid, when it's the strongest, then he has to pay a whole dinar. If it is towards the end, then it is what? He has to pay half of a dinar. They also say that it could also mean that what is looked at is the person. If he's a well-off person and he's able to pay it, then he pays a full dinar. If not, then half a dinar. And this is from the mufradat of the Hanabila, and the jumhur of the ulama, they say there's no kafara, because they say the hadith based on this is da'if. The hadith stating this is da'if. وَيَسْتَمْتِعُ مِنْهَا بِمَا دُونَهُ. Like every other form of intimacy is legislated and is permissible, due to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when his wives would be going through haid, he would ask them to cover the bottom part of the body, and then he would ﷺ have intimacy with his wives. وَإِذَا انْقَطَعَ الدَّمُ وَلَمْ تَغْتَسِلْ لَمْ يُبَحَ غَيْرُ الصِّيَامِ وَالطَّلَاقِ. Then the Shaykh says rahimahullah, if or when the blood does stop, if the blood stops and she doesn't have ghusl, or she hasn't had ghusl yet, then the only two things that are permissible are fasting and talaq. Initially, what has he taken out now? Salah. So it is not permissible for her to pray, sah? Why? Because she hasn't had ghusl yet. She has not had ghusl yet. Lakin with regards to siyam, it is permissible. Just like the person on janaba, it is permissible for him to fast. Rather, he should fast. It is wajib for him to fast if he finishes, and that is if her haid finishes just before the time of Fajr on a fasting day. What talaq, also making a divorce, allowing her to be divorced, or her husband being able to divorce her. Why? Because the condition for a woman to be divorced is either when she is pregnant or in a tahara that he hasn't entered intercourse with her. Now if she's just finished her haid, then obviously he hasn't had intercourse with her. What has this excluded? When he said the only two things that are permissible are fasting and talaq, he has excluded salah, sah, and he has also excluded jima'. طيب. As for salah, then obviously what she needs to do is what? Ghusl. She needs to do ghusl and then pray. طيب, su'al, a question can come, which is, what if a woman is at work, مثلا, or she's at school, or college, or anywhere else, and she doesn't have access to water? What should she do? Should she leave off the salah, even though the time of the salah will end by the time she gets home, or by the time she gets access to water? Should she leave off the salah, or should she pray? What she should do is, she should pray by making tayammum. Lakin that is if the time will end. If the time that she has access to water will end. Surah al-Mas'ala. Mathalan, if a woman finishes work at, now in the summer, if she finishes work at 3 o'clock, and it takes her half an hour to get home, she finishes work at 3 o'clock, what time will she be able to get home? 3:30, 3:40, give or take. Sah? During that time, at that time, 3:30 or 3:40, it is still the time for dhuhr. Why? Because Asr comes in roughly 5:37 or 5:38, something like that. So therefore she should wait, because obviously the salah is what? The salah, the correct time of the salah is still, we're still going, present. The salah of the time of the salah is still present. It hasn't ended. And it's better for her to complete her salah in the most complete manner. So she delays the salah, means salatul dhuhr, and she goes home, has her ghusl and so on, and then prays. That is in the summer. However, what if her haid ends exactly the same scenario, like it is winter time, whereby dhuhr has a small time window, which is between 12 or 11:55 till 1:30. What should she do? Make tayammum, and then pray. Make tayammum and then pray. Because obviously she's only going to get home what time? Around 3:30, 3:40. She might not even be able to make it for Asr on time. Therefore, what should she do? Make tayammum and pray. Later on, she still has to have ghusl. Lakin does she need to make up the salah? لا. فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً فَتَيَمَّمُوا صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا. And obviously she has not got access to water. طيب. Then the Shaykh rahimahullah started on the next mas'ala, which is the mubtada'a. Now he's moving over to the woman herself. Before it was to do with haid and the rulings pertaining to haid. Now he's moving on to another aspect, which is the actual woman herself. So he's going to talk about what is called a mubtada'a and what is called a mustahada. A mubtada'a is a woman who starts to see or experience or go through haid for the first time. For the first time. Mathalan, let's say a young girl reaches she sees her haid at the age of 13. When she sees her haid for the first time, that is called what? Al-mubtada'a. Why? Ibtada'a hayduha. Her haid has started at that point. Right. Then we're going to go on to the mustahada, which is the irregular bleeding. A question can arise. What about the woman who's normally got her haid? The opposite to the mubtada'a, the one who's been seeing her haid for the last 5, 6, 7, 20, whatever years. Her ruling is what? Khalas. The amount of days that she normally goes through her haid, that she has her haid, then she leaves off the salah and leaves off the fasting. Those days, whether it's 6 or 7 or 8 days or 5 days, however many days. Like, why do they state the mubtada here? Because she is fresh. She does not have a norm. She doesn't have a aada. The Shaykh rahimahullah explained a way in which is specific to the Hanabila, which is from the mufradat of the Hanabila. And he says rahimahullah, وَالْمُبْتَدَأُ تَجْلِسُ أَقَلَّهُ. First and foremost, the mubtadi'ah, she waits, or she considers her haid a day and a night, which is the minimum amount of what? The minimum time for haid. Why does he say أَقَلَّهُ تَجْلِسُ أَقَلَّهُ, the minimum? Because one thing that we're sure of is that the first 24 hours of that young woman seeing haid, that is definitely what? Or seeing blood rather, that is definitely haid. That's one thing we're sure of. And then the other things that we're not sure of is during day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're not sure. It could be haid, but it could be what? Istihada. So he says, وَالْمُبْتَدَأُ تَجْلِسُ أَقَلَّهُ. So a woman sees haid. 13 years old, she sees haid. The first 24 hours on a Monday, مثلا, the whole of the Monday, she doesn't pray and she doesn't fast. واضح? Understood. طيب. ثُمَّ تَغْتَسِلُ. Then after the first day and night, she has a what? Ghusl. After she has the ghusl, وَتُصَلِّ. ثُمَّ تَغْتَسِلُ وَتُصَلِّ. She has a ghusl and then she prays. Because she is no longer in what? According to them, she has passed the definite period of haid. Even if the blood is still flowing, she still needs to make ghusl, perform ghusl, perform ghusl, and then pray. فإذا انقطع لأكثره فما دونه اغتسلت عند انقطاعه. فإذا انقطع ماذا? If what stops? الدم. If the blood stops لأكثره in under لأكثره فما دون, below the maximum number of days that a woman can get haid, which is how many? Which is 15. Which is 15 according to the madhab. If she sees that blood has stopped within 15 days or anything other than less than 15 days, اغتسلت بعد انقطاعه. She has a ghusl when it stops. Surah al-Mas'ala. We said to her, on a Monday, wait, don't pray, صح? طيب. On a Tuesday, what did we tell her? Ghusl and then start to pray and start to fast. حلو. After she has started to fast, she carries on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for another 7 days. For another 6 days. Then on the 6th day, she goes on the 7th day. The first day she obviously done her ghusl. Then after starting to pray, 6 days gone past now. On the 6th day, her haid stops. That's what the Shaykh is saying. لأكثر فما دون اغتسلت عند انقطاعه. She stops, she has a bath, she takes a ghusl when that blood stops. So how many times is she now going to have ghusl? Twice. She's going to have ghusl twice. Then she's going to carry on as normal. واضح so far? Any questions on that so far? طيب. Lakin why are they saying we need to only allow her to do 1 day and night of haid and the rest we're going to tell her to make ghusl and pray? Because they're saying we're not sure, it could be damul istihada. Secondly, this young woman, she doesn't have a normal number of days that she doesn't have ghusl. Therefore, we're not sure. So, in order to be on the safe side, because what we're dealing with is salah and siyam, ibadah, two types of ibadat. In order to be on the safe side, we're going to give her this formula. طيب. Then, فإن تكرر ثلاثا فحيض. If the same number repeats itself 3 times, then that is going to be her normal haid. So let's say on the 7th day, she stopped, or her haid stopped, and she had a ghusl. She does the same method for the 2nd month, which is what? Ghusl after a day and night, and then carry on praying. She does the same for the 2nd month, and the same for the 3rd month. Whichever number repeats itself on the same time, that's how we know her haid is that specific number of days. مثلا the first month was 7 days, صح? Let's say the second month is 7 days. And let's say the third month is also 7 days. What does she do on the fourth month? Khalas, the fourth month, the minute she sees hayd, she stops salah and siyam. Sah? Khalas. On the seventh day, when her hayd ends, she has a ghusl and what? She prays as normal. So she's only allowed to join the club of womanhood after what? On the fourth month. That is when she is now a fully grown woman according to the Hanabila. According to them, that is when she has her normal hayd. Before that, we're not sure. Then the question arises, what about all those times? Now that we know those 7 days were your hayd, what about those days that we told her to pray and to fast? What should she do? تَقْضِي مَا وَجَبَ فِيهِ. She has to repeat whatever was wajib in that time. What was wajib in that time? Siyam is the only thing that could have been wajib at that time. Because her hayd, is salah wajib during her hayd? La. Therefore, those salah that she done, it was extra salawat that she prayed. She wasn't meant to pray, but she did. With the command of the fuqaha. Lakin, it doesn't matter. Lakin, with regards to the siyam, it needs to be made up. We know that siyam is incorrect. So then she makes it up. And it's only possible that she makes up what? 7 days only, because you don't get 2 Ramadans 3 months after, or back to back. طيب. Unless, of course, she started to do qada, and she started to make up fast from last year, and so on and so forth. نعم تقضي ما وجب. That is the qawl of the Hanabila, and it's from the Mudfaradat. And they said the qawl of the Jumhur, which is the stronger opinion, is that as soon as a young girl sees her hayd, that is the minute that she classes it as hayd. And she stops praying and fasting for the duration of that hayd. If it ends at 7 days, khalas, it ends at 7 days. If it ends at 8 days, it ends at 8 days. If it ends at 6, it ends at 6. She only has one ghusl, and that ghusl is when? At the end of the, what? At the end of her hayd. Khalas? طيب. وَإِنْ عَبَرَ أَكْثَرَهُ فَمُسْتَحَاضَةً. Now the Shaykh rahimahullah is going into the mustahada. طيب. So let's say we've got 2 women out the way so far. The first is what? The woman that's been experiencing her hayd for a long period of time. Khalas, what does she need to do? Whatever amount of days she used to leave off the salah, she leaves off the salah. That's number 1. Number 2, the second that we've now studied, which is what? The mubtadi'ah. The mubtadi'ah, what did we tell her to do? According to the stronger opinion, the Jumhur, khalas, when the minute you see blood, stop praying and fasting. The minute it ends and you see dryness, khalas, then that is the moment that you should what? Have your ghusl. That is the moment that you should have your ghusl. With regards to the ghusl, it's the normal ghusl. However, there's a mas'ala that is often mentioned, according to the Hanabila as well, which is that when a woman is having a ghusl, if she's got plaits or if her hair's tied up, then during hayd, at the end of hayd, she needs to untie it according to the Hanabila. طيب. Lakin for janaba, she doesn't need to do the same. And there's a hadith in which Salama, I believe it was, she asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that she ties her hair, should she undo it? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, should she undo it from janaba? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said la, she doesn't need to do it. So the Jumhur say la, khalas, she doesn't need to do it. Hayd is exactly the same because it is ghusl. Ghusl is ghusl. Lakin according to the Hanabila, she has to undo it. And la'alla, Allahu a'lam, like one of the ta'lilat that they may use is that ghusl of hayd comes around once a month. Lakin ghusl of janaba can come around often. طيب. وَإِنْ عَبَرَ أَكْثَرَهُ فَمُسْتَحَاضَةً. Now we're going on to mustahada. Mustahada is irregular bleeding. Mustahada is irregular bleeding. So right, al-mustahada هي التي جاوز دمها أكثر الحيض. طيب. هي التي, the mustahada is what? She's the one. جاوز دمها, that her blood has surpassed exceeded أكثر الحيض, the longest amount of haid, the longest amount or longest duration possible for haid. يرحمك الله. طيب. And the longest duration was what? 15 days. So you can say the mustahada is the one whose blood exceeds 15 days. Whose blood exceeds 15 days. Right. And there were many of the female companions of the Prophet ﷺ that would experience haid, would experience mustahada. And that is irregular bleeding, and it is abnormal, and it is different to the haid. It is different to haid. Right. Write a title or question, or the title, the difference between haid and istihada, damul istihada. الأول اللون, the color. اللون. So with regards to the loan, damul hayd is aswad, as the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, as we shall see. It's black, dark. Damul hayd is dark. As for damul istihada, then that is red, light red. Or normal, the normal color of blood. Secondly, الرقة من حيث الرقة, in terms of how thick or thin it is. دم الاستحاضة is thick. And دم الحيض عفوا is thick. دم الحيض is thick. دم الاستحاضة is thin. The third difference, الرائحة, the smell. دم الحيض has a foul smell. دم الاستحاضة has no smell, or it doesn't have a foul smell.